Okay, so we kind of touched upon the things that we like. So let's touch upon the things that we didn't like about the movie.
It's definitely not better than the first one. There's a lot of personal. These are, I guess, personal issues, and I think other people may find this as you're just watching it from a movie perspective. A lot of the dramatic scenes were very forced. I won't say the acting wasn't great. It's just the timing of it wasn't the best. So like when like the Rocket Raccoon and Yondu dialogue between them when they were trying when Yondu goes off on this huge tirade about like you and I are similar because and then goes on and on. It like it was good, but it was awkward as crazy. It was crazy awkward. It just like I understand why they did it. They did it because we have to make sure at this point Yondu is a good guy. He's not just kind of crazy dude, like or like some evil dude. He's just a nice. He's a nice guy, and like his death scene is like the mimicking the Gamora and Peter Quill when she was about to die in the first one, right? I'm like that's like exactly the same, but this time at least one of them has this thing that keeps them alive, and that was like it was good. It was heart wrenching, but it's still just a little cheesy to me, just a little. It's a bit forced. I'm not sure if it was necessary, but it was definitely understandable why they did it. So
For me, I think the one major complaint I have is kind of a complaint with the whole MCU to begin with. The villains always kind of get the short end of the stick. I think it was just like with previous villains to see him to see Ego kind of die. It's kind of a waste of a character. You can maybe have him deactivated, maybe have him growing a seed of himself somewhere else in a different planet. Maybe they did. Maybe they can use it as a way to bring him back. But I think that there is lots of missed opportunities with the villains so far
Yeah.
from any of the MCU movies, and it's kind of continued on with this one. I would like to see him maybe come back in the future. Just that it's kind of disappointing to see him kind of go just like that.
Yeah, with the MCU villains, they're just known for killing them off. For Ego dying, I was somewhat okay with that. I didn't have a big problem with it compared to the first movie where it was Ronan, because Ronan is not such a destructive being that you can keep him and have him in future movies against Thanos or whatever they want to do with. But with Ego, he's such a powerful character that keeping him alive is kind of it's just going to be more world destruction for future movies.
The,
But I
the,
understand that.
yeah,
problem,
well,
right?
the only thing I can think of is like with the MCU, they had the biggest reset button ever for any kind of movie. They have the Infinity Gauntlet, which can basically alter anything that has been done. So who knows? Everyone can be brought back, but I just like to see maybe a villain stay a little bit longer. Kind of like how Loki has played a major role as a villain, like Thanos as well. But we need more of these villains. Otherwise, eventually you can just run out of people that the good guys can be battling, and it'll just be good guy versus good guy, like in the comic book sometimes. And repeating that too much kind of takes away from the entire stories and from the characters themselves. So
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see what happens. But hey, in Feige we trust, right?
Okay, so I have a question. What's Easter eggs? This movie was packed with so many Easter eggs, random stuff that only comic book nerds basically know.
yeah, I have a
So-
few questions on like certain
Yeah.
things that happen. Like the most evident one is probably Adam. Like it's not like it's not this Adam and Eve type thing. It's like they're like, we've created this perfect being for destruction. It's like, and he says Adam, and the first thing I thought like, Adam and Eve, like she Eve, like I didn't understand what the heck's going on. Like what is that?
Well, like the fact that there's one major Adam in the whole M616 universe, and that's our Adam Warlock. He does play an integral part of the Infinity storyline in the comics. Once again, we don't know if he will be showing up for that. Maybe in the part 2 of the movies. You can kind of back that up by how Aisha kept on referring to as him, because when in the comics when he first created, he was known as him compared to her, which is Aisha, right? They're basically the male and female perfect beings. So you can kind of use that as a backup to say that he is Adam Warlock in that shell.
So Adam Warlock, we're not going to go too much into this one. We're going to have a character breakdown video for this. So maybe click to that link for a future video about him.
Yeah, so we also can't go on without talking about Stanley's appearance. Like, we have these big head dudes in giant, like, vampire cloaks. Who are they?
The Watchers. So
And who are they?
So Watchers in the comics are these cosmic beings that basically are set to just watch what goes on in history. They're basically there to kind of preserve and just keep recollection of what goes on in history. In the comics, there has been times that they kind of stepped over lines with that rule, which is kind of weird with this situation because we see 3 Watchers there with Stan Lee. Stan Lee's not in any kind of Watcher form. He's in a spacesuit in this weird place in the middle of nowhere. So we have a few speculations, I guess. On
yeah, he brought up that he was a FedEx delivery man.
which ties into Civil
Civil
War,
War.
when Stan Lee played a delivery guy.
Yeah, delivering a package to Tony Stark. So it's kind of weird that he's in a spacesuit, but this is kind of from a fan theory back then on, I think, Reddit or something. And I guess Marvel listened and thought it was fun to throw in for us nerds to see, I guess.
Yeah, so once again, we don't know if Stan Lee's actually a Watcher himself, if he was someone like a cosmic being hired by the Watchers, but basically it's the ongoing gag that he is someone that was experienced all these MCU movies and was part of them. So you can say he kind of is like a Watcher of the MCU so far.
Okay, so one of the other, not so much Easter eggs, but they were in the movie here and there. They made a few appearances. Is the original cast of the Guardians of the Galaxy from the comics. So, what did you think about that when they threw them in there?
So that was Sylvester Stallone, Michelle Yeoh, and I do not know the
I
other
think
actors.
Michael Rosenbaum was
There, yeah.
Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames, and
yeah.
I think Miley Cyrus voiced
Yes,
Mainframe.
yes, she did.
Oh, really?
She did.
Yeah, she did.
Oh,
I did not know that.
That did not know.
I
So
did not-
Sylvester's character, Stakar, what can you sort of tell us a little bit about him?
AKA Starhawk. right?
Yeah, so yeah, he's one of the members of the original Guardians of the Galaxy. So when we talk about Guardians of the Galaxy with the movie, they're not the first iteration of the team. There was an original team that was basically the space version of Avengers. So you have like your Mainframe, the one that was voiced by Miley Cyrus was supposed to be like the cosmic version of Iron Man. Then you have Vance Astro, which just wasn't shown, but like kind of the cosmic version of Captain America. So it's kind of nice to see a bit of a throwback to the original, because once again, it's kind of funny how they started off with the second iteration of the team and not the first. But we can kind of see this as maybe they'll play a bit of a role in maybe Volume 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy. There hasn't been any kind of speculations about them having their own movie, but it's kind of nice to see that they're kind of playing a tribute to the original cast of the comics.
Yeah, it was fun to see when they were doing Yondu's funeral, his space funeral, and then you see Michelle Yeoh and Ving Rhames and Sylvester Stallone show up, like the original Guardians, and you know, as a comic book fan, you kind of go, oh, they're all here. And then they come in at one of the post-credit scenes and they form a team. So hopefully something happens in the next movie for these guys.
All right, cool. So this brings us to the end of our episode. Just want to thank everyone for listening. If you guys have any opinions or speculation that you've heard of on your own, please comment below. If you like what we did, please subscribe. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks.